Hi everybody, and welcome to another episode of Turning the Page. And it's Barry here again, and so good to have you back again, either if you're watching this on YouTube or on through some other medium, or you're listening to the podcast. It's always good. It's always good to share something with you, some thoughts and ideas. And today's topic is around how people view what God is like. And I found that for many people, God can be like one of those angry drill sergeants, demanding and harsh. Step right, step left, 25,000 press ups. But I actually believe that that is a flawed understanding of God. And when we look at it a bit further, we can actually unpack it and actually truly come to understand something a bit more deeper about the nature of God. And that drill sergeant, it's got that attitude like if you follow the rules and commands, then everything will be okay. But if you step out of line, watch out. And look, I've talked to so many people that have had that sort of belief system. It's quite a destructive one, and they think that God is like that. And when we talk out how they view about God, it's sort of honed down to a heart description about how they feel about God, what God is like. And they have an intellectual knowledge of God being kind and compassionate, all those sorts of things. But when you really get down to a metaphor to describe God, it's much more like a drill sergeant. And that drill sergeant, he's going to push you, shouting at you until you get it absolutely perfectly right. There are rules to be kept, and you need to keep them. And a drill sergeant, he's going to break you down. Any personal disobedience is going to be punished, so much so you become like a machine, a cog in the wheel, and they issue a command and you do it. The army swivels on a single command: turn left and turn right, and everybody moves. When I was a child, I was taught songs with the titles such as "I'm in the Lord's Army" and hymns such as "Onward Christian Soldiers." Very military orientated, orderly, displaying God as commander-in-chief. And the thing is, when God is both commander-in-chief and a drill sergeant, then you better follow the rules. There's no room for humanity or compassion. Now, I believe that one of the most dominant influencing factors on our earliest beliefs about what God is like comes from our parents, our parental figures. Stern fathers and mothers can so often create in us an image of God just being like that, stern and authoritarian. And there's punishment for breaking the rules. Black and white, you're in or you're out. And then the church, read organised religion. I'm not talking about church relationships, not talking about what it was always meant to be like, but I'm talking about organised religion. It comes along with its set of dogmas and rules on how to live a godly life. And we like certainty and direction. So we listen to the preacher and the Sunday school teacher warning us about the perils of stepping out of rank. I remember as probably 11 or 12-year-old having a Sunday school teacher showing me pictures of people being thrown into the hell's fires and multi-horned beasts. And he pulled out this book of some creative artist had drawn the whole of Revelation into like a weekly digest, which is very useful for scaring small children. Look, I suppose we are all looking for someone to tell us what to do, to give us advice. Do this, do that. We want to know what to do, whether I should pivot right, pivot left, stand at attention, or be at ease. We want certainty. We don't want a mystery. And in our hearts, maybe, we are looking for a drill sergeant, a kind one. Someone that understands our real needs, someone that is kind and compassionate, someone who will say something like this: Like, I see you're struggling with the push-ups. Here, let me do them with you. And if you can't do them, I will do them perfectly on your behalf. Actually, I've already done them, but I know that doing the push-ups will actually help you grow in my likeness. So let's do them together at a grace pace. I like that, grace pace that you can handle. Now look, every effort you try to impress the drill sergeant God, that authoritarian God, is actually quite laughable. He's already done it for you in perfection on your behalf. So there's absolutely no more medals to be earned or brownie points to be gained. It's all about love and grace. All of your efforts to try and please, it's self-righteousness efforts. God is just full of love and grace towards you. He doesn't laugh at you, by the way. Doesn't laugh, but he loves you. Look, a metaphor that I like to use when it helps me understand what God is like is that of a beautifully cut diamond. I've got a niece that's recently got engaged, and she's quick to flash her engagement ring, and you can see all the little facets where a master craftsman has cut edges off the diamond to both to reflect light, but also to absorb it and then shoot it out. And this diamond, it's got so many facets or edges cut into it, and every facet has a different quality, but it's part of the same diamond. It's a part of the whole. And yes, there is an element of God being like a drill sergeant, but if that is all that has captured our attention, then we're missing the whole beauty of the diamond. And when I say God is like a drill sergeant, I'm not saying he's like a harsh drill sergeant. He's more like a drill sergeant that says what I've said before, that wants to work with you to develop you into his likeness. You see, I want to enjoy the whole diamond, every facet, every face. I don't want to be enchanted and mesmerized by just one. Give me the whole diamond. Yes, there are spiritual disciplines that can help my formation, but if the discipline and doing the discipline becomes the object of worship, I've truly lost the alluring power and delight of what God is all about, that beauty. And maybe another facet of God is of a lover, alluring us to be with them. And I love this verse in Hosea 2 verse 40. It's one of my favourites. Where God says, therefore I'm now going to allure. Wow, that's a romantic desire, temptation. Come with me. Therefore I'm now going to allure her. I will lead her into the desert and speak tenderly to her. How about that as a facet to focus in on? God being like a lover. There's no drill sergeant there, is there? But another diamond facet of expression. Look, here in New Zealand on our country roads, we have these signposts that with a motorcyclist going around a corner, and the words on the sign say, where you focus is where you go. And it's a warning about being distracted from this, and then careering off the road. Perhaps with a lifetime focus on God being like a drill sergeant, it is taking you away from knowing God, knowing a God of compassion, of love, and it becomes a relation of doing the right thing instead of discovering a new enchanting facet. So what would it be like for you to stop your motorbike and allow you to look at some other facet of God, the alluring facet of God? I'd encourage you to begin at a heart level to become open to the possibility of other facets of God's nature shining light and life into your soul. Here's some quotes for you to consider. If your religion does not transform your consciousness to one of compassion, it is more a part of the problem than any solution. Richard Rohr. God's method is neither to merely issue commands from the general's tent, do what's right, nor to improve the functioning of diseased organs, fix what's wrong. Instead, he becomes so intimately a part of us that we want to resist whatever he doesn't like and release the good things he has aroused within us. Larry Crabb. God no longer stands in front of us, drill sergeant, barking orders. He is now inside us, whispering with attractive authority that it's time to hit the deck and to do 50 push-ups. And now we want to do it, not because the activity itself is fun, but because it fits our nature. We're soldiers, and we enjoy pleasing our commander. We love him. That's from Larry Crabb. And final one from Larry. Groups tend to emphasize accountability when they don't know how to relate. Better behavior through exhortation isn't the solution, though sometimes is a part of it. Again, Larry Crabb. I love that. Gosh, I've been in so many groups that have emphasized accountability because they don't know how to relate. Some questions. What is a dominant image or facet that defines what God is like to you? Number 2, how much have parental figures and organized religious experience contributed to your understanding of what God is like? 3, what does your heart need most to hear right now? Hey, I hope you've found this interesting and helpful and thought-provoking about how you view God. And is there a facet of where God is like a drill sergeant, snapping out orders and putting pressure on? Hey, email me. I'd love to hear from you. I love to hear from my readers and my listeners. It's barry@turningthepage.co.nz. And just flick me an email. I'd really like to hear from you. And also just a big thank you and a big shout out to those people who regularly support Turning the Page. It does cost money to run this website and everything I do. And just a thank you to those people who do support me. If you'd like to be part of the team, I'd love that. For at least $1 a month, a US dollar a month. It's pretty cheap, isn't it? So come over to turningthepage.co.nz/support, and there's lots of range of options in which you can help me continue to produce this sort of material and get it out to the world. Hey, thanks very much, and we'll see you next week. Bye.